Betsy was the prettiest girl in Pensacola. I had my eye on her from the day I checked in. But trouble was, she couldn't see me for sour apples. I guess she was just too busy. Dick was a slingshot artist. A bit on the aggressive side, but maybe I was just prejudiced. She liked him. Until he committed a grave error. Unauthorized simulated combat. If Dick had confined his blunders to the parlor, he would have recovered, there being other mermaids in the sea around Pensacola. But he made the same mistake in the air. Practicing section tactics with his wingman, he spotted a PB-4Y below and ahead, increased power, and started a shallow climbing turn to the left, while his wingman crossed under and started a sharp diving turn for a high-side gunnery run on the privateer. Dick also pushed over in an attack run. Neither he nor his wingman knew what the other planned to do. Since the privateer was subject to a surprise attack, there was no predicting its action. Dick's plane flew through the slipstream of the PB-4Y and a second later collided with his wingman. Unauthorized simulated combat. After a while, I went to see Betsy, and again I was just in time to be too late. Albie was smooth, sharp, and vigorous. Perhaps a bit too vigorous. For one night at the officers' club, he made an error in defensive weave tactic. This was not unusual for Albie. He'd done it before, and a few days later, he did it again in a fighter-director flight. Albie was wingman to the division leader of 4 Bearcats making up the attack group. A 5th plane acted as bogey. When the bogey attacked, the leader went into a defensive weave, but Albie, full of push and vigor and intent on the bogey, failed to follow his leader, ignored the other section, and plowed into the other wingman. Neither pilot survived. After the second accident, Betsy was a jinx to the sports of the day. I suppose they didn't really believe what they said, but who wants to flirt with a Purple Heart? Everybody shunned her. Everybody with 2 exceptions. I was one of them, still pitching, and the other was Dale. She chose Dale. Maybe he reminded her of Dick or Albie. He certainly reminded me of them with a star-spangled manner. One night he sparkled too brightly and pressed home the attack too vigorously. It took more than a moonlight dip to clear the lieutenant's head. A week later, in a scheduled combat tactics flight, Dale had the altitude advantage. He and his adversary made several scissoring turns trying to get on the tail of the other. Gradually, both planes reached the same level, and the 2 pilots faced each other. Neither was willing to lose the advantage by breaking away. Both pilots had pressed home the attack too vigorously for the last time. No hits, no runs, 3 errors. These men were killed because they failed to follow established doctrine. Flyers know all about unauthorized simulated combat and errors in defensive tactics and pressing home the attack too vigorously. But explaining them to Betsy was another thing. Took a long time before she understood, before she consented to marry a Navy man. Well, we're still married, and I'm still flying. It's simply a matter of following established doctrine.